Tell you a tale of the not-so-distant past. The Stag Lord ruled this land. He ruled it through fear, made people disappear. There was no one to take a stand. But what he didn't know, sitting in his chateau, is our heroes would soon take command. Oh, Solaria, your heroes would answer the call. Oh, Solaria, you're home to the bravest of all. Arsenius had his scythe, Muriel had her mind, Dorwat had anger and beer. The Baron had guns, and though they were fun, their fire caused a ring in my ear. I came along and brought them all song, and Reginald made wounds disappear. Oh, Solaria, your heroes array against your foes. Oh, Solaria, you'll soon see an end to your woes. Our heroes arrived, and it didn't take much time before they had entered the fray. They cut down the bandits to the land, returned the balance, and fought back the Stag Lord's decay. So he gathered his power in his broken down tower and conspired to bring a doomsday. Oh, Solaria, your heroes have answered your call. Oh, Solaria, you're home to the bravest of all. The day finally came when the Baron did proclaim, Stag Lord, your evil is done. The hero struck his fortress, an attack made in chorus, as bright and as strong as the sun. They fought long and hard, but they beat that blow hard, freed us each and every one. Oh, Solaria, your people stand proud and stand tall. Oh, Solaria, your land is the greatest and soon to be famous. Your heroes the bravest of all. Tell you a tale of the not-so-distant past. The Stag Lord ruled this land. He ruled it through fear, made people disappear. There was no one to take a stand. But what he didn't know, sitting in his chateau, is our heroes would soon take command. Oh, Solaria, your heroes would answer the call. Oh, Solaria, you're home to the bravest of all. Arsenius had his scythe, Muriel had her mind, Dorwat had anger and beer. The Baron had guns, and though they were fun, their fire caused a ring in my ear. I came along and brought them all song, and Reginald made wounds disappear. Oh, Solaria, your heroes array against your foes. Oh, Solaria, you'll soon see an end to your woes. Our heroes arrived, and it didn't take much time before they had entered the fray. They cut down the bandits to the land, returned the balance, and fought back the Stag Lord's decay. So he gathered his power in his broken down tower and conspired to bring a doomsday. Oh, Solaria, your heroes have answered your call. Oh, Solaria, you're home to the bravest of all.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I'm gonna let that play out.
The day finally came when the Baron did proclaim,
hey, everybody.
Stag Lord, your evil is
it's
done.
It's just fantastic.
The hero struck
One of
his
our
fortress,
players,
an attack
actually
made
Brian,
in chorus,
he
as
wrote this
bright
song
and as strong as the sun.
way back when we started.
They fought long and
Kingmaker.
hard, but they
Yeah, which
beat
what I'm gonna
that
be
blow
doing
hard, freed us
is a
each
little
and
intro
every one.
Where I'm going to tell you guys a little about the history of
Solaria,
So give some context
your
to all
people
our
stand
players.
proud and stand tall. Oh, Solaria, your land is the greatest and soon to be famous. Your heroes the bravest of all.
There we go. There we go. Well, hello everyone, and happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for showing up tonight for session 3 of Trials of Solaria Broken Oaths. I am your illustrious game master, Darewolf of Darewolf Gaming 88 on Twitter and Twitch. Don't forget to like and follow me. Super appreciate all of that. What I'm going to be doing tonight, because one of our players is going to be just a little bit late, hashtag no blames. We're not going to be blaming. We're not mad. It's totally good. It was completely pre-planned. And I was sitting here thinking, okay, do I delay the start? Do I not delay the start? Well, why don't I do a little bit of a historical, little anecdotal kind of thing where I tell everyone a little bit about the history of Solaria. This is the nation in which this story has taken place. I'm actually running 3 games right now. This is the only one that's being streamed, Broken Oaths, but I have another game that's called Shadow over Sunspire, which some of the players of this game are playing in. And then I also have an additional game called The Children of Solaria, which really just inspired this whole group of stories. And what's really cool is each of these adventures is starting to interact with one another in different ways that even the players and maybe even the GM aren't quite aware of. But I wanted to take just a few minutes at the start of our session tonight while we're waiting on Brian to get in, just to give y'all a little bit of background about Solaria. So Solaria itself is a nation that myself and 5 of my players created while we were running through the Kingmaker campaign, which is a pre-built adventure, but kind of a half pre-built adventure. It is set up to where you are given this huge swath of land known as the Stolen Lands, and you're given pretty much free reign after you initially take over this kind of central location, which is located here. You see kind of that white little hexagons, etc. It's hexploration, which is what it is. So what you're looking at on the top here is the Kingdom of Solaria. This is the kingdoms, everything that it encompasses, all of the hexes that you see, except for these small little ones up on the right-hand side here. If you can see my little hand, those are the only ones. That's actually Brevoy. And if you look down at the bottom map, you're going to see Brevoy, which is just north of Solaria. You see the capital, you see where Pitax is, which is one of the other major cities. And although it is a robust and it's a very powerful for its local area nation, Solaria, it's very rich. It's got a lot of very good economy. It is a small nation, and it's really kind of sandwiched between Brevoy, which is this kind of civil warring, more patriarchal kind of society up north, and then you have the River Kingdoms, which is really just a series of these small little civil warring nations. But just to give you a little bit of context of where Solaria exists and a little bit of what you can see here, this is actually a direct snippet of the map that we used while we were playing the game, and they explored each and every one of these hexes and fought monsters and formed new nations and things like that. Nations, but new cities and towns. But if we pivot down, I'm going to read a little bit of this, but I don't want to get too boring because you can also read it. But Solaria was founded on the 8th of Desnes by Frederick Drake and 5 of his closest friends who would eventually make up the ruling council for the nation. Over the next 10 years, Frederick and his council would fight off troll invasions, beasts from the First World, barbarians, other kingdoms that wanted nothing more than to see the fledgling nation fail, as so many had before. But after 10 long years, and hard-fought years, mind you, the kingdom is still thriving and has become one of the most talked-about nations in the entire River Kingdom. Just to give you a ballpark, overarching idea of what we're dealing with here. Now, as I mentioned before, Solaria sits between Brevoy and then the rest of the River Kingdoms, and there are just a number of important cities in the kingdom. Now, there's obviously some additional smaller little towns and things like that here and there, but the main cities are really what we're focusing on. So you have Sunspire, which is the capital of the nation. And if you go back, you can see Sunspire is really kind of centrally located right above the lake right here. And then you've got Svetlania, which is located just to the north. It's right on the border of Brevoy and really acts as a kind of trading post, also kind of a northern watch post, just in case Brevoy decides to get a little haughty or anything to come down. You also have Linsington, which is located to the south of Sunspire, and Linsington was really is currently, because this is an existing place. Linsington is the cultural center of the nation. So when I say cultural center, it has multiple bardic colleges, it has a theater. This is where Lindsay, who is a character from the RPG, the Kingmaker RPG video game, CCRPG, that I brought in because I thought she was just such a great character. I brought her in, but she was part of the council and ended up having her own town. You'll notice that some of the names, if you've ever played Kingmaker, are actually tied into some of the actual characters from the game. So Svetlana was the wife of Oleg, who was Oleg's trading post up in the north. She ended up becoming one of the advisors to the king. I'll get into that a little bit later. But again, just to give you an idea, you've got Varnhold, which is off to the east side of the city. So it's actually located over here, east side. It's past these mountains and really is kind of a city to itself. And that's where our primary story is taking place here, as well as in Varnhold after the Varnhold Pass, which was located just between these mountains here. There was a large valley that had been cut into the mountain pass to allow trade to go back and forth between the capital, other cities to the west, and then obviously Varnhold, which is a huge location because of its location in reference to the mountains. It's had a lot of iron ore, stone and things like that it was exporting. But with that being said, you've then got Fort Delrev, which is located off right by the lake here, this large lake, Fort Delrev. And Fort Delrev is just kind of a middle community, nothing too crazy going on there. You then have Tatzelford, which the other game is taking place, and Tatzelford is centrally located in the forest, and it was set up right where this large temple of Erastil they had found, and they actually ended up, putting back together, recommissioning, that's not the term, but they fixed it. That's the word. They fixed the temple, and that's where the other game, Shadow over Sunspire, is taking place. And then last, but certainly not least, we have Patax, which is the farthest west kingdom, located over in kind of southwestern Solaria. And that was another kingdom that had actually spawned up in Kingmaker, and they ended up getting into a conflict with them. There was a whole thing that happened. I won't go into too much detail. I don't want to bore you, but they eventually took it over after a large resanctified. That's a good phrase. Thank you. But that just gives you a basic idea of the different cities, places, etc., and really kind of what you're looking at. And if I do get any interest, I can make this is actually the player's guide that I'm going through right now. I can make this available for everyone if you want to take a look at it, read a little bit about the history. But what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to go down a list of some of the important characters from the history that you may get references to. And I think having the viewers as well as even the players get a better idea of what the history is. Some of them did play in it. So Drubaca and Brian were both in the original Kingmaker game. They're currently playing in the Children of Solaria game. And so they have this history because they lived it. But for you as viewers, I really want to just give you a basic idea of what it is. So you've got Queen Calasandra Drake, who we met last session. She showed up at the Mint, and they're going to have a conversation with her pretty much right off the rip. Hashtag no spoilers. Yeah, General Akaros, he was the leader of the Solarian Guard, was a character from Kingmaker, and as of now, he is presumed dead. He was there at the end of, right when Godfrey and his apostles of the Arcanum attacked, when they attacked and took over the capital and, killed some of the council, as well as, attempted to, trap the children, which is unknown what happened to the children. But, the citizens have no idea. They assume they were captured or killed. But with that being said, he's presumed dead during the attack for now. Then you have Deena Grunswalt, who was the second in command of one of the council members by the name of Catelyn. She was the Strider. She was the Warden, was her official title, and this was her second in command. So whenever Catelyn and some of the other council members were off doing their thing, adventuring, fighting other kingdoms, going to the First World as they did at the end there, she was the one that was in command. And rumors right now are that she is still active. She wasn't captured during the initial assault because she wasn't in Sunspire, and there's been some rumors that she may still be alive and is currently doing this kind of guerrilla tactics against Godfrey and some of his apostles. You then got Dauphin, who we have met in the Trials of Solaria here for Broken Oaths. He was the king's squire. He really didn't have an official title per se, but he was someone that the king had taken under his wing. He saw potential in this man and this boy, and now when things really hit the fan, he has apparently saved the queen or helped usher her off to Varnhold, and is currently acting as the commander of the remaining Musketeers, which this elite, musket wielding, they had guns, force of the Solarian Guard, and he's doing his thing. We'll probably find a little bit more about him as the game progresses. You then have Sydney Demetrio, who is the adopted daughter of Arsenios. Arsenios being he was known as the Bloody Harvester, but he was kind of he was like the sheriff of the town, is the best way I can describe him. He was one of the players of the game, but when he was off adventuring, she was like the third in command of the harvesters, as they were called, which were like judge, jury, and executioners kind of guys. They would go around, stop crime, things like that. And she is also presumed alive because there's been some recent rumors of her, and is likely somewhere in either maybe Fort Delarev or the Tatzelford area. No one's really sure, but they've heard she's working in consort with her wife, who was a gal by the name of Ostrich. She was the squire to General Akaros, who we spoke about earlier. Also is presumed alive because there's been some rumors of her. However, all of these characters I'm talking about right now in game, Godfrey and his apostles, they are all stating that these rumors are unfounded, that all of the terrible council that didn't really care about you, all of their minions have been captured and taken care of, etc. The whole thing. Next person down is a gentleman by the name of Renfrey. And what's interesting about Renfrey is he is still alive, but barely. He is actually on display in the north gate of Sunspire as a reminder to those that want to follow, these apparent, Godfrey and his apostles, the apparent guys that are coming in and want to make things better for humanity, are currently torturing a human. So yeah, super good guys, right? But he is currently on display, but he was the second in command to Arsenios, the leader of the Harvesters. And again, he's in this cage. He's never allowed to die. He's emaciated. It's terrible. And maybe hopefully someday someone can save him. Of course, we have then Godfrey Silas Locke, also known as the Wizard Garifin, which was his name that he introduced himself with. He is the villain of this story, just to call it plainly. He's the guy that came in, attacked the city. At one point, he was an ally or apparent ally to the council. He had created this wizard tower. He had apparently tried to maybe help some of the council members, had offered advice and magic things, but all the while, which they came to find out in the end there, is that he was just using them to try and gain some power. And we'll find out more about him at some point, I'm sure, as the stories progress. But he's a real stick in the mud, as it were, is the best way to describe it. And yes, Drubaka, boo to Godfrey. Next up, we've got Warden Creston Garess. He was the governor and warden of the North. He's actually stationed in Svetlania. What is unfortunate about him is that it is rumored he actually betrayed the king and helped the apostles into the palace. So when this attack happened several months ago, about 4 months ago in game time, there was rumors that he and his daughter Tamira, who is right below him, actually let the apostles in because the king and his council, all of those characters had done a really good job of they knew Godfrey was coming. He'd already tried to mess with them. There were different attacks. There were these runic symbols that had appeared. Citizens had gotten killed. There were, different attempts on their children's lives. It was a whole thing. And no one understands how the apostles were able to get in, even though how powerful, the apostles and Godfrey are. No one understood how they got in. And so the rumors is that Creston and Tamira betrayed the council and actually allowed the apostles to get entry into the palace, as it were, not the castle, but the palace of Sunspire, attack the remaining council, and for all intents and purposes, as far as they know, capture the children as well. But with that, a couple of important organizations I just want to briefly touch on. We're going to be getting started to our actual session here in about 15 minutes. What I'll do is I'll wrap up this little historical overview for you. Thanks for listening to me talk at you. And then I'll go on a quick little session starting thing, and then we'll get the players in here very soon. But we've got just the Solarian Guard, which was a standing army of the kingdom. They were, just the standing army. They were the soldiers, think of them as town guards, but maybe a step up. You got the Musketeers, which I touched on earlier. They were Frederick's personal project, really the elite soldiers. You had the Harvesters, which no organization was spoken of with more fear, but also respect by the citizenry. It wasn't really a militia. They were think of them as like sheriffs, like a Texas Ranger kind of thing is what they were. They were able to, arrest people, judge them, if need be, execute them. Solaria had very, very well behaved citizens because, not to say that they would kill you, but, there were these scary guys walking around with scythes, that if you stepped out of line, you committed murder, well, you probably got your head chopped off. So it is what it is, but we digress. You then had the Striders, which were under Catelyn, who was the warden in Solaria, and they were really just rangers, actual rangers. They fought with bows and double-bladed weapons, things like that, and they acted as scouts and not spies, but acted as scouts for the kingdom. And it was actually the Striders, when Patax invaded, that alerted the king and his council that they were being invaded, as a kind of first warning thing there. You've then got the Drunken Louts, which no one actually knows if the Drunken Louts exist. Rumors have it that they did, but it's kind of like Fight Club. You don't, to get into Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club kind of thing. And that was the Drunken Louts. They might operate, they might not operate. Maybe they were an official organization. Maybe Dorout was their leader. Maybe Dorout wasn't. Nobody really knows. So we don't really talk about it. And the rumors have it, though, is that the Louts, if they existed, which we're not saying they are, but if the Louts existed, many of their operatives are still in locations and acting against the interest of the apostles. But again, that's if they existed. I'm not saying they do. I want to be very clear that they probably don't exist, but they might. I digress. All right, so with that being said, last but certainly not least, the Apostles of the Arcanum. These are Godfrey's henchmen. They are masked individuals. You've actually seen an image of them in, I believe, session 1 we had, or at least a description of them. These are they're the bad guys. That's what they are. And it's set up where there's Godfrey. He has 6 additional apostles. These are kind of leaders. They all have different colors. There's a green one, a blue one, a yellow one. There's a red one. There's a green, all these different colors, and they're each very, very powerful casters. Some think that they might be clerics, they might be wizards, they might be sorcerers, but they're all arcane aligned, these people and these leaders. And then you've got a whole hierarchy, which I can go into here. You've got, Godfrey, his main core, kind of his council of apostles. Then you have apostle clerics. Then you've got some sergeants, and then you've got just the henchmen, which a big thing just to make mention about the apostles, all of their members, as far as anyone knows, are human. I'm not saying that Godfrey and his apostles are racist, but they might be racist. It's terrible. They're not good people. All right, I'm just going to call the kettle black. Godfrey's a dickless prick. He's a bad person. So that's why nobody really likes him. But again, he's very powerful. With that being said, the story so far, again, just Kingdom grew rapidly. And about 6-7 months ago, to where our story begins, the council and the king, the core members of the council, went into the First World because there was an incursion happening. These portals were opening up. All of the kingdom was under attack, and they figured out that there was this Fey queen, Nerissa, who was trying to kill some people. Specius, that is true. Specius is right. But she was trying to bring her First World into Solaria and basically take it over and just unleash the First World on the mortal plane. So they went in there to stop her. Now, what we do know as players and as, viewers is that apparently the king and his council succeeded, but the king and his council never came back. And no one really knows what happened to them. All right. No one really knows where they are, what happened. Some people may know, but I can't tell you about that because that's another game. But no one really knows, at least in game. And for our characters of this game, no one knows where they went or what happened to them. So everything has transpired. It's been 3 months since they didn't arrive. It's been 3 months since the Godfrey and his apostles appeared. They came through these portals, these blue portals with these blue lanterns, which is his symbol. Godfrey says that he is the new god of magic and is apparently has divine power or something. I'm not saying he does, but that's his claim to fame. And right now, again, there's this unevenness where some of the cities in Solaria are like, well, we're going to support the new guy because we don't have a choice. Others are like, screw Godfrey and his apostles. We think the king and council are coming back eventually. So there's this real uneasiness in the kingdom right now. And for a fledgling kingdom, one that's only a decade old, this uncertainty right now is the foundation for a collapse. So the goal here of the stories that I'm telling is, and this is what I've told everyone about what this game is when the heroes of the land, those powerful leaders who have defended the kingdom, helped form the kingdom, when they disappear, who steps up to the plate? Who steps up to ensure that the common folk aren't thrown to the apostle wolves, or the wolves as it were? Hashtag Deerwolf Gaming. Anyway, I digress. But with that being said, I hope that gives you a basic overview of what the game is about, what the history of it is, and hopefully that just kind of brings you up to speed on what's going on. And if you do have any additional questions, hit me up on Twitter at DareWolfGaming88. You can also friend me on Discord. I love talking about this kingdom. I've been playing in this nation, in this game for about 2 years now, and I've got quite a bit more content to cover both in this game as well as some other games that I'm playing in with some players, and just very excited to share the story with everyone else. Yeah, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you feel like subscribing, cool, but go ahead and just drop a follow. With that all set, I'm going to hop off stream here. I'm going to go back on. I'm going to put on some music for you all, and then I'm going to get the players into their Zoom call. We're going to get everything set up, and then we're going to dive into the official session 3 of Trials of Solaria Broken Oath. So thank you all for listening to me about the history of Solaria. Hopefully this gives you a little bit more background information, and I'm very excited to bring you session 3 here momentarily. Talk to you guys soon. actually,
Not a god.
I mean, he might be. That's what we're talking about. Also, we're live. Hey, everybody. Here, Will, here. How you doing? You just heard me talk for like an hour. No, 30 minutes it was. But hey, everybody. Welcome to Session 3, Trials of Solaria, Broken Oaths. And also, for those that tuned in to my Solaria background, I just want to say thanks for tuning in. And for those that tuned in real early, you got to hear our very own Brian, his rendition of the Solarian Epic, which is a song that he wrote during our Kingmaker campaign that tells the story of the Council and their overcoming of the Stag Lord. But enough out of me, because you've been listening to me for 30 minutes. Let's hear from our illustrious players, those of which I am going to just have happy times happen to them, nothing but good things for the entire session. Let's start with Brian. We'll pivot our way over. Go ahead and take it over.
Hey everybody, I'm at Mind Over Brian on both Twitter and on Twitch, although on Twitch I spell it with a 0. I'm not on Twitch very much, but when I am, it is an absolute blast. And I am playing Venwivar Hallowbrand, who is a sorcerer. Sorry, he's a horse groom. He's a horse groom who is just very charming sometimes. That's what he is.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Blau, fill us in.
Hi there, I'm Joe. I'm playing Eckhard Gerst, a very legalistic Abadarian war priest.
Brilliant. Axel.
Hi, I'm Axel, and I play Mikhail, who is an Kitsune entrepreneur, and they're not at all legalistic, and they are also very charming.
I like it. I like them. They're good people. Or foxes. Drubaka.
Hi, I'm Drew. I'm playing Pixelink Fizzbold, who is a gnome hunter, and his animal companion, Polly the Whistle.
Who may have a drinking problem. We're not exactly sure. No one's saying
You're only an alcoholic if you go to meetings.
Oh, that is a statement. All right. Well, good stuff. We open our scene, as we often do, with a low view of Varnhold. And as we travel, imagine if you will, we're traveling through the Varnhold Pass. So we're flying in through this narrowed valley, and we come out of the valley. You can see the mountains rise up behind. And as we fly forward, we come to the walled city that is Varnhold. Now, as we get close, we notice that above the city, there is this ominous black rolling thunderheads. And you can see, and it looks as though if this black thunderhead, it just skirts the edge of the city, just ever so slightly skirts. And the clouds in the sky around it, while not clear, are not as dark and cloudy. So it is this centrally located. It's right over Varnhold. And you see this very, not a light rain, not a heavy rain, but this downpour. Just a very slow and steady drizzle, I would call it, is falling upon the city. And every once in a while, you'll see a flash of lightning. You'll hear this crack of rolling thunder. And as we get closer, we go up and over the walls, and we see that the streets of the city are devoid of any sort of humanoid life. We see that shutters are closed, doors are closed. We don't see anyone really moving about the city. What we do see, though, are shadowy figures, like actual shadows, moving ever so slightly. You look to the left, you see one, and then it's gone. You look to the right, you see one, then it's gone. And we hear these cries from people. We hear animals, like a dog bark, yelp, and then it sounds as though it was felled. We hear people crying out, "Ah, no, what is it?" Just horrible cries. And as we move into the city, we come through that western entrance. We go down, we head into the Salt Sprawl, which is the southern part of the main city. And we come to what looks to be the most solidly built building in the entire city. It is made of solid stone, huge bricks, and we recognize this as the Mint. It is the Mint, and the holy place of Eckard's god. So we go inside, actually phase through that front door, and we open right where we left our last scene. The Queen of Solaria has shown herself to our group, to our party, and has beseeched you for some help. After looking over to the High Priestess of Abadar, she said, can they be trusted? The High Priestess said, oh, yes, she can. Sarah was like, oh, gods, it's the Queen! And kind of half fainted, but stayed awake because she looked at Eckard and didn't want to embarrass herself, so she readied herself up. And you watch as Sarah is standing there, and she's trying to match Eckard's stance. So Eckard, describe to us how you look in this moment.
Eckard, probably ever so slightly wet after coming inside from the downpour that's recently started, is wearing a set of splint mail, and over it he has a tabard which shows his both his religious affiliation for Abadar and his whatever order he happens to be a part of, the sheriff patrolman, the tax masters as they're called, and he has a big gold holy symbol on a chain around his neck. And he has a little bit of jewelry, but nothing too ostentatious. But he is displaying his wealth as most members of Abadar do.
You see that Sarah has it's made of like rope. There's a little copper holy symbol of Abadar around it. And however you're standing, if it's with a hand on your hip, if it's with, she is just mirroring you, and her eyes keep darting from you to the Queen, from you to the Queen, and she's just trying to look proper in this moment.
Yeah, he probably has his buckler hanging from his belt and both his hands behind his back. Normally, he'd probably stand with a hand on the head of his pick and one hanging out of a belt loop, but does not want to have a hand on his weapon in front of the Queen.
That's maybe a good choice. Who knows?
Yes.
There is a moment of silence as the Queen she seems to be drinking you all in, just looking at you. It is not an aggressive, like she's looking down upon you, but there is a look of trepidation, of uncertainty, which for someone of the royal line, a queen, perhaps that is maybe a little odd to see. But she is looking at you all, and it is as though she is waiting for you to say something. And does anyone say anything, or are you waiting for her to say something? We'll have this awkward silence.
She looks like she's expecting us to say something. Like she's not. And the last thing she said was,
"Can they be trusted?"
And did the lady answer her?
Yes, I know Eckard, and Eckard would not handle or spend time with it. Oh, there I'm awake. Anyone that wasn't trustworthy. Isn't that right? Taxmaster.
One cannot always choose their associates, but I believe these men are trustworthy, yes.
That's as glowing an endorsement as you'll get from him. No.
Then tries to fade back, like just to be at the back of the group.
He bumps into Sarah, who goes, oh, hello, hi, hello. Aren't you the horse guy?
Yep. I'm clearly here by accident. I'm just gonna move to the back here.
That's strange.
You guys should.
Are there any horses? Taxmaster, did you hire him to look after your horse?
No, not mine.
She looks back to Ben.
And trying to keep attention away from Vin, he'd begin his conversation with the Queen there, trying to ask his question, but you'd finish your scene if you had anything else to say.
That's it. Just being silly.
Oh, all right. No, Eckard's just trying to do the good guy thing, like, oh, fuck. And he'd say, Your Majesty, while I am prepared to undertake any task necessary for the safety of this city and Solaria as a whole, details of such a task would be most welcome.
She continues to hesitate, but eventually you see this. It's as though the color in her face was faded, and you see a little bit of rosiness appear back in her face, as though she is breathing for the first time, as though she's been holding her breath for quite a long while. And it's not a sigh, it's just a release of air, takes in a deep breath, and then, the hood that was up on this cloak she's wearing, she looks very nondescript. You see it slowly come back, and you get a full view of the Queen herself. And I'm just going to show everyone at home there so you can see it. And she bows to you, Ekward, just ever so slightly, just bows her head. I thank you for your presence. Things have been difficult these last few months, hiding from the apostles and not knowing who to trust. Were it not for Dokken and the Musketeers, I fear that I too would have been taken by the apostles. But there is someone else, rather something else, that has been hunting me. And we thought if we came to Varnhold, it would not seek us here, but it appears the creature has found me once again.
What seeks you, Your Majesty?
Would that I truly knew what it was. I have my suspicions, but I must go back a bit of time, a bit of ways, and I'm sorry, I just need to catch my breath here for a moment. And she looks around, and there is a small bench just to the left of the back door she came in, and she just sits on it. And you can see as she sits down, it looks as though the weight of everything is obviously resting upon her shoulders, and she is struggling to keep herself up from, be it exhaustion or stress, you're not sure, but obviously something is weighing heavily upon her. When I first met the king, it was during a princess parade, and there was a woman there, which we came to find out was not actually a woman, but rather a crone of sorts in disguise. She had sought to wed the king and likely kill him, thus taking over as ruler of this land. She apparently, if I am correct in my assumption of this is who it is, never forgave me for being the one that he chose, and now seeks to replace me. Are any of you familiar with hags?
Vaguely entails, no specifics.
Yeah, I've never met one.
You are cutting it out very bad, Drubaka, just FYI.
All right, I'm gonna change my headphones.
Okay.
What knowledge check would that be to know whether or not I know anything about hags?
So this would be a knowledge nature is what you would want.
Totally untrained. So nope, I don't know.
Same.
I think Bix would be the only one that has this, so we'll give him a quick moment to get the headsets up and running, and then we will dive into it. But we'll continue with the queen here. She is a hag, a evil creature, and I believe everything that is taking place here now in Varnhold is her attempt to finally corner me. I would ask that you, if possible, I don't know why I'm being so timid about it, I need your help. I've been cut off from Dokken and the Musketeers, and in this moment I have no one else to turn to.
Your Majesty, if I may, we did meet a certain person, woman, noble-looking lady who she was very strange and seemed very dangerous and magical. And she said that she was looking for someone, a woman, if I recall. Could that possibly? She looked very regal and had red hair and very beautiful by normal standards.
She pulls down the robe that she's wearing. It has a long sleeve that just ever so slightly comes over the middle part of her hand. Okay, so just past the wrist, and she pulls it back and then motions to her wrist. Did she have a tattoo here of a serpent?
I do recall. I think someone mentioned that. Yes, that rings a bell.
God be damned! It's her. She's found me. Would be it that the king was here. And
Test. Working.
you sound much better, Bix. You sound much better. Well played. And she mumbles to herself for just a few seconds about the king, the council. How could this have happened? And then steadies herself, and you see her sit up a little straighter. She pulls the sleeve back down, and she sits up a little straighter. She looks to everyone. I know that I am the queen, and for all intents and purposes, I have some command or rule in these parts. I don't wish to give you commands. I wish to beseech you all to help me in any way that you can. The first thing I believe that we should do, and truly in this moment I was never one for tactics, it was Frederick and Arsenios and the others, but I think we need to find where Dawkin and the Musketeers are. Without their help, I fear that the 5 of us, 6, and she says 7, pointing to Sarah, it won't be enough to stop whatever this hag has done.
Didn't Dawkins send us here with the written orders?
He did.
We'd seen him within the hour, Your Majesty.
So he is still alive? Do you know where he is? Was he
About
coming here?
Well, he told me to come here. He's about 100 yards away from the Red Woman last we saw her.
And the high priestess of Abadar, we're going to call her Esmeralda, because I think that's funny. So Esmeralda now has a name. Oh, yes! The letter said that these 5 were to make sure the queen was still alive, if I trusted them. And I do, I suppose. Except for that one there, with the nose. You don't look very trustworthy. It's the smile. She points at Mikhail.
That is nonsense. I am a very trustworthy entrepreneur, and I would be glad to offer my services for the sake of.
Like a fox in the henhouse.
We are a noble kind and not at all associated with foxes in earnestry.
She reaches very slowly down to a shelf. Slowly slides it open. You hear a
What?
cluck, 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 cluck. She slowly pulls out a full-sized chicken.
What the?
What are you going to do? Are you hungry?
I am very concerned about your mental well-being.
She slowly puts it back in the drawer. You hear the chicken struggle. Get back in the
Are you sure you should be keeping that there? Is it not? You know what? I do not want any part of this.
As an animal groom, I can recommend that you might want to put that in a coop. They don't breathe very well inside of dark spaces, and they'll just go to sleep, and you'll get far less egg production that way.
Your Majesty! And she turns to the queen, who looks back at everyone. Did he say why he sent you here? Was it simply to check that I was all right, or was it to... Why would he send... Did he say he was going after her? What was the situation?
He sealed the letter and told us to bring it to the Mint. I didn't break the seal of the letter until then. Until I handed it to her.
Esmeralda actually hands the letter to you, and it simply reads, "We've found her. We're going after her. You can trust the priest. Beware of the others." That's all it says.
Eckard would not read that out loud.
That's probably good.
Evidently, they identified the hag, and they're going to attempt to destroy it. And he offered the letter to, looking to Esmeralda, then offered the letter to the queen directly.
And the queen
Is
would take
destroying a hag like a great endeavor? It sounds like a thing you'd be able to do with just any old cart. And like a shove.
Bix, your knowledge check was enough to know a little bit more about hags. They are relatively powerful depending on what kind. They are relatively powerful chaotic evil creatures. They are monstrous humanoids, extraplanar, and they sometimes have witch levels. They like to prey upon the weak. Sometimes eat people. Some of them like to kill someone in power and then take over and, you know, match what they look like, so form themselves into that, and just like to cause havoc. They're just horrible. You know, the flesh of this withered woman's face stretches tightly over her skull, with one red eye bulging fat in its socket. Just horrific looking monsters, and they're up to no good.
Sweet.
Yeah, not good people.
Would you share your knowledge?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Oh. Well, I guess we're going to need to find somebody with some magical ability beyond the divine magic, because if we're going to match witch level to...
Yes, it would be convenient if we had someone well versed in the arcane arts.
Perception checks from everyone, please.
Oops, press it twice.
Thoroughly at attention.
Mikhail, there it is. Sorry, I was having trouble with words. You hear a scratching and what sounds like the pitter-patter of tiny feet just
get at her.
outside of the main steel door that enters into the mint.
Cal turns around and looks towards it. I fear we might have company or something strange happening. May I suggest Your Majesty take cover somewhere?
Very subtly, Ven tries to cast mage armor on himself.
I lean down. Polly, guard the
There is
door.
that.
And Polly skips over to the door and starts sniffing around at it. As Polly gets within 10 feet of the door, you see his nose. He recoils back, looks back to you, and you know this look on Polly's face. It's something ain't right outside.
I'm gonna hide somewhere in this room. Is there like a big piece of furniture that I can hide behind?
There's furnitures, desks. You've got benches, chairs, tables. It's a very large chamber, correct?
Nice. I'm hiding.
And the scratching continues, and it's just kind of like a... And then there is one long, just scream, like nails on a chalkboard, just scream. And then there's a tink, tink, tink. I know you are in there, Your Majesty. Come out and play, Your Majesty. Tink, tink, tink.
Eckard turns, upon all of this, and plants himself somewhere midway between the Queen Esmeralda and the door.
Tink, tink, tink. I can be patient, but can your citizens? Scrape again, and then you hear the pitter-patter of feet moving away from the door.
Shit, that wasn't creepy.
I poke my head out from under the desk and go, I think that this is not such a safe location anymore.
She didn't come in for a reason.
Esmeralda chuckles to herself. Yes, well, the mint is warded against evil. It is a holy place, after all.
I'm guys, I'm way out of my depth, so I'm just gonna go.
You're going outside where the witch was just scratching at the steel door?
See, my sister's out there. My sister is out there somewhere, probably. Somebody should probably find her. If you guys wanted to come with me, that'd be great. Because I'm this is too much for my peasant ass.
If you help us, we'll help you.
You seemed rather capable at the fight against big worm things. So perhaps you are not as.
I got
evil
exploded
as
a
you
bunch. I was still wounded when we got here.
think. I agreed. That much is true. I am just saying.
However, I will. Yeah, when I've got this staff, and then I'll cast spark to light the lantern part of my lantern staff.
I, on the other hand, really am a simple merchant, and therefore fighting is not really my field of expertise.
Mikael,
Perhaps there are. Yes.
make a perception check.
Another one. Okay.
You
Chicken's coming
see Esmeralda make a hand signal. It's very subtle. She's like, her hands are right here, and she just kind of does like a. And you would recognize this hand symbol if you belonged to a certain organization, and no one's saying that you do.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Me neither. I don't know what I'm talking about either. Probably nothing.
Yeah, it's probably nothing.
Your
Interesting.
Majesty.
Uh,
Sorry, am I interrupting?
no, go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
While I am willing and I can draw a stipend from the church for the work here, if the church is willing to pay me for work for you, I believe these people would need recompensation for abandoning their livelihoods in your
Ben
aid.
leans over to Bix and goes, "I love traveling with an Avatar priest. They'll do all the negotiating for you. It's great."
Yeah, I
And,
mean, honestly, I got nothing better to do, but yeah, let's do this.
And additionally, I would like some legal assurances that our hunt for this hag would not lead to our own, execution should we take a wrong turn or act in our best judgment, which may not be in line with yours or the Magister's.
These are trying times, cleric. And trying times call for. They call for certain liberties to be taken. I would grant you such liberties as at least my power as queen of this land. Are you looking
That
for
covers the legal assurances, as, again, Your Majesty, the difference between murder and illegal killing or execution is a stroke of your pen.
Guys, I don't want to be the voice of naysaying in the group here, but we are all aware that there was like a coup and that there's like somebody else sitting on the throne. So technically she's deposed and has no power. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I
but
don't
that guy's
wanna...
a dick.
I mean, oh yeah, no, full agreement over here. That guy who I definitely have not met, he is an asshole. But honestly, if we're like doing things by the legal, I just want the priests of Abadar to be on my side. So legally, if there's a hostile takeover, does that make the new king? I just don't know how this would work for you.
Well,
It's just
typically the faith is neutral in matters of war, but civil war and rebellion are two exceptions. Until the rightful legal authority is completely deposed of, which very clearly is not, there can be no reconciliation between the other powers of the world to decide what is lawful and right.
yeah, good to know. Good to know. Well, Queen, it sounds like you've got me and Eckerd because I'm taking care of his horse theoretically, and any other abilities I might be able to lend.
And I've got nothing better to do.
She smiles at Bix. And then she looks to Mikhail.
As I said, I am, of course, very eager and willing to offer my services, especially if there is recompense involved.
He said that. I heard it.
No, the queen never said yes.
The queen nods her head. I am simply me here in this moment, but if we are to re-establish some level of control away from the apostles in this, or at least in Varnhold, you will be properly compensated for any assistance you can offer. You have my word. And I'm even willing to put it in writing. And she smiles, nodding ever so slightly to both Eckerd and the high priest Esmeralda, who goes, "Oh, I'm already drafting something up. Just stand by. Sarah, bring me more ink." And you see her scribbling like a contract so that everyone can sign it, so that it's all in writing.
Eckerd's going to go ahead and look over her shoulder.
It's pretty standard. Simply states that Eckerd, Ven, Mikhail, Bix, and those that ally themselves with them have, not free reign, but as close to free reign as possible to do what must be done to help retake Varnhold and act in the interests of the queen and her council, is what they're calling it. And that you will be rewarded properly for services rendered once completed.
While they're doing that, oh, sorry, you want to say something?
No, Eckerd would just say it appears to be fair to my eye, not offering judgment to her particular wording or the vagueness thereof.
Yeah, while they're doing that, I would like to go up to the queen and kind of in hushed tones, I will say, Your Majesty, these are hard times for Solaria, and you are wise to think carefully about who your allies are, and I'm very respectful of that. And in that vein, there are a few things that I would like to share that you would surely be interested in if we could talk in private. And as I say that, I will kind of discreetly, as so that no one else sees, I'll make a sleight of hand check if you'd like. I want to show her an object in my palm that I will DM you right now what it is.
I like it. And as you approached her, you saw that she was drinking in the room. She was looking at everyone, but as you approached her, you saw that her wedding ring, which you'd presume, you saw her playing with it and spinning it just around her finger in a kind of distracted, maybe nervous little tick. And she just spins it. And she almost seems surprised as you approach. And then you said you're going to DM me what you show her. And she looks down at this object and then nods her head. We can step into the back room if that would be acceptable to you.
Yes, that would be quite lovely.
She looks to Esmeralda, who says, I'm almost done. Fear not. No, Sarah, the blue ink, not the red ink. No, the red ink is for all the mistakes you've made on your papers. Yes, good. No, go. It's the other pot over there. And then she goes back, and the two of you step back into this back chamber, which is really a library of sorts. And as far as libraries goes, every single book that you see is just it's a ledger. It's, accounting books. There are, for every single business in town, you see the names there. It's a boring library, but yeah, somebody's got to do it. And she looks at you, Mikhail, as the door closes with a thud. And she looks at you. I had wondered if any of you had survived the assault. I assumed of any of the organizations, did they exist? And you see a little smile in the corner of her mouth, that yours would have been the one that thrived. What can you tell me?
Mikhail is a bit distracted as they are looking at the ledgers very carefully and trying to memorize things in like the brief period of time that they're here. And then they just snap back into it as she says that, and they say, well, yes. My organization as a merchant is quite thriving still, I can assure you. And we are at your beck and call, as you are, after all, still the true leader of Solaria.
How many of your merchants are within the city? Are you aware?
I only know of one other. I've not seen any of my other contacts in some time, unfortunately.
Well, if you were able to connect with any of them, their assistance would be invaluable during these trying times. Do as you do best and act in the interest of Solaria as your group, organization, your merchants always have. And
Yes, and about that thing, there is a person that you should know about. This man, this groom outside.
what of him?
He had a woman that was coming with him away from Sunspire.
It was
As
his sister, if I recall, he mentioned.
That is what he said, but I have reasons to think otherwise.
And the queen has been playing with her wedding ring the whole time, just pushes it back down as close to where the finger connects to the palm of the hand, securing it. And you see her take her hands and just cup them in front of her, grasp them together, and rest just in front of her. What can you tell me then?
Unfortunately, I have no evidence of this, but I have reasons to believe that at some point, at least, they were a part of the apostles.
Both of them, or just the sister?
Quite possibly both.
Do you think they are agents? Do you think they are acting against us now?
I think they are deserters, unless they are quite a bit more sly than I give them credit for.
I would ask you this. Share this information with no one else, especially those among your party. But keep your eyes on both of them, and if you find the sister, let me know.
There is one more thing. I believe that sister, Odyfe, I heard something strange about her.
What did you hear?
She is apparently Godfrey's daughter.
The queen takes 2 steps back from you. Her face, all of the color in it that had returned, just fades away. The bastard had a daughter? And she is here, in this city, right now, away from him?
That is what I heard.
The queen spins around, putting her back to you, and starts pacing the room. You see her hands are no longer clasped, one comes up, and you can hear her talking to herself. But if Godfrey has a daughter, I mean, does he even care about anyone? Why would he let her leave? But this would be terrible. I can't use... But if we can capture her, then perhaps that will give us leverage against Godfrey, just like he used our own children as leverage against us. And you've lost her. You've lost her in this moment. You've lost her. She is just pontificating and thinking about different ideas, and you hear her saying, can we use her against him? And then she stops after about a minute of this and turns to you. You need to find her. You need to find her, and you need to bring her here.
Well, I would love to do that. She is currently missing, but I do know her face, and we might be able to find her by using the other one. However, she is, from what I understand, also a deserter from her father.
This is leverage. This is leverage. This is leverage that we can use.
And there is one more thing, actually, that this might also be rather important.
The queen throws her hands up in the air. What more could there be?
She might be in possession of a gem with a Magister Muriel soul in it.
You see her hand fly up like it's about to smack you, and then stop short of your face, pull it back, and she just steadies herself. Find the woman, bring her back here, and we will decide what to do with her then. Is that understood?
Yes. Now, just in case, and please do not panic as I do this, I will kind of pass my hand over my face and change my appearance to Olive for a bit, so that I show her what she looks like. This is what she looks like, in case you chance upon her.
The queen studies the features. I can see it. I didn't even think that man capable of truly siring offspring.
Yes, I have heard rumors that he does not possess. Never mind. Is this is this sufficient for your convenience?
I have the face memorized. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add, Mikhail?
I believe that is everything. Thank you for listening, and you are, of course, welcome for the information.
Thank you for doing what your kind has always done best, looking out for the interests of our kingdom.
As always. Now we should probably step outside as to not appear too suspicious.
She opens the door, and as she opens the door, I understand that you have many business propositions, but I don't believe that now is the proper time for us to be discussing such investments. We must retake the city, and after the city, we must focus on retaking all of Solaria. And she looks to everyone else and nods. Is there anything else I can answer for any of you before I send you on your quest? Oh, the queen? The queen? She is gonna roll something because I think it's funny, and we're gonna see how well the queen lies.
Can I aid another her?
Yeah, I mean you could.
All right.
Cool. So her bluff check is not terrible. All right, 26. That's what you're looking for. 26. You all, with those checks, are picking up that she's probably bluffing here. I'm going to be candid. You kind of know that maybe something else was discussed, but what it was, you don't know, obviously. You can't really pick up on, why. She doesn't seem like she's being dishonest, but you're all intelligent people. You can assume what you want to assume. But with that all said, we now have you all in the chamber. The Esmeralda, the High Priest of Abadar, has completed the contract. The Queen signs, allowing everyone else a moment to sign as well, giving you, effectively promoting you to, what would be a good term? Deputies. You're being deputized in the name of the Queen and Council of Solaria. You've all been deputized, and now have the ability to act in the interests of the kingdom, the true kingdom. King, Council, and Queen of the Kingdom of Solaria. Where would you all like to go, and what would you all like to do at this point? I leave that to you.
I suppose we start with going outside.
Go outside. Excellent. And as we move to the door, and we go outside, I want everyone to make perception checks again. Vix, these howls of pain, these cries, this torment, these occasional yelps of dogs or like cats fighting, these sounds you've heard, as soon as you all get right up next to the door, it stops. It's quiet outside. Very, very quiet. The only thing you are hearing is that very slight sound of rain hitting the metal door. You've heard rain on like a tin roof or a metal roof. That tick, 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 tick. That is all you are hearing as soon as you all get within 5 feet of the door.
Was the Mint built as strictly a bank? Would it have back doors or a sally port of some sort?
It has secret entrances, hidden entrances. It's got a front entrance. It's got a back entrance. It's built like a small fortress because it houses all of the money for the city. It is the bank, it is the mint, it's where they make money, it's where they hide, save the money. Anyone that wants to deposit something, they have lock boxes, safety boxes. It's designed to be impenetrable, but it's also designed for those inside to be able to escape, if that answers your question.
That was ominous. think this is our best bet? He gestures to the door.
Would there be a
Bix,
different exit?
Bix pulls out his bow. I don't trust it, but I think it's our best bet. Yeah.
Eckard, you'll kind of yank the head of his pick up and let it go and catch it by the handle.
Perfect. And as the door creaks open, there is a and a scraping noise as it scrapes along the ground. And as the door slides open and opens inside, there is a ka-thump as a body falls onto the floor in front of you. And as you get a good glimpse at this body, I won't even make you make a perception check, you see that it is what remains of a man. He has been horrifically torn apart, as though savaged by some sort of beast. His back is cut open, his stomach is cut open, his eyes are missing, his lips have been removed, his ears have been removed, and carved into his back is a phrase. It has been carved into the flesh of his shirtless back. And who here speaks gnome?
Is
I
it the
speak
gnome?
gnome. I do indeed speak gnome.
Tick, tock is all that it says.
What
The
in
man is dead.
hell
The
is
man has been
going
dead for
on?
quite some time. He's very.
I was going to ask about wound specifics, but I figured that wasn't good enough to even
Wound
voice questions take up table
specifics,
time.
You're not sure how he died. It could have been the gash on his neck. It could have been the loss of blood. It could have been how he was cut. His stomach was cut open. Could have been it could have been any number of wounds on there. You don't know what killed him. But this man is savaged by something horrible.
Do I recognize him at all?
You can't recognize his features. He's been too horribly scarred.
Can I tell if all of the wounds appear to be from the same source? You said
Yes.
a beast, or
Yeah.
are some of them
It looks like it was
weapons?
some sort of beast. None of them look to be weapons. With that 8,
Okay.
you don't believe
it's hard
any
to
were
tell, yeah.
weapons. It's really hard to tell, but they're very much like, a blade would do a smooth cut. These appear to be claw marks, like it was gouged out and ripped apart versus sliced through.
Can I use scent to see if I recognize? his
I
scent?
was about to do the same.
You can. The man, no one that you would recognize. You've probably smelled him at one point, but it's no one that you would know. Seems to just be a citizen of the city.
Okay, either of us?
Either of you.
Okay.
Deckard will take him by one wrist and drag him out just outside the doors, outside of Esmeralda and the Queen's
You
view.
hear Seraph from inside. What's that you have there, Taxmaster? Oh, God! She runs back to Esmeralda. Stepping out into the city.
Did you cover their scent? Sorry.
No
It
one
doesn't
we
seem
know.
to be anyone we
No
know.
one you know. Just
okay.
one of the citizens of the city.
I just want to make sure I didn't hijack you.
Stepping out. No, you're good, man. Stepping out into the streets. The Mint itself is a very long building that you see here, just to the south of you. And it is right in front of a statue. Not centrally located, but along this back wall. And you see there's this large statue. Now, to describe what the scene looks like in front of you, there is that drizzle, that steady drizzle of rain coming down, echoed off of your breastplate. You would hear the tink, 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 tink. Are you wearing a helmet as well?
Yes.
At this point? You hear the
Well,
tink,
he may
tink,
not have
tink,
it on,
tink.
but he has
You
one.
would hear the tink, tink, tink. Everyone else, you're not getting drenched, but you're slowly getting very, strangely moist, is the best way I would describe it. You're starting to get moist as the rain comes down. And there is this stench in the air. And Axel, Mikael, and Bix, since you're using scent abilities, you would both recognize this stench as the stench of death and decay. It smells like something's been rotting for a very, very long time, and it feels like it's coming from all around you, as though it has permeated the very air, the very existence of this city. The ground itself, because of this downpour, has become very soggy, very, very muddy. In the places where there's not stone or brick roads. The ground has become sodden, extremely sodden. And again, you hear nothing save for this slow deluge of rain coming down. Just tink, 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 tink. But you smell that horrific decay in the air.
I cast detect magic.
The air around you, the very air, the rain itself, is filled with necromantic energy.
Oh shit, guys. The rain is necrotic. I don't know what it's doing, but there's like necrotic energy coming from this rain, and everything just smells like, he shudders hard, just death. You okay, Polly?
Ollie is shivering, and as soon as you stepped out into the rain, Polly took a few droplets, then stepped back inside and seems incredibly nervous to enter back out. Polly's a very brave weasel. Polly follows your commands, but as you ask Polly to come out, Polly hesitates. Polly stops. Polly is sniffing the air and just shakes its head, shakes their head like, I don't want to do that. Like a dog that you're trying to get into a bath and it's like, or it doesn't want to do it. That's what's happening.
Okay. I'm gonna pull my pack around and dig through it for a couple minutes, and it's kind of funny, like the little gnome pulling out random gnome shit from his pack. And then I'm gonna pull out a weasel-sized raincoat. You want to wear this?
Polly looks at the
Will
raincoat.
that get you out?
Looks back at the rain, looks at the raincoat, sniffs the
Please,
raincoat.
buddy?
Polly shakes his head again. Handle animal check.
Skills.
"13. Polly is having none of it. He is having none of it in this moment. He doesn't want to do it. He's just,
Well,
no, don't want to do it.
I hate
Wait.
to do it.
Are we waiting on this weasel? Because listen, I can coax your weasel out if you need. Oh god, I never thought I'd say that to someone.
Excuse me, I can handle my own weasel. Thank you very much.
Can you? Because it doesn't seem like you can in this moment, Pix.
Perception checks, everyone, please. The 15 is enough, and Polly looks to the horseman. And
Have you thought about giving him some treats? And
Polly sniffs
Ben
the
pulls out
treats,
some sugar cubes.
takes one, takes another one, and by the time you're done feeding him sugar cubes, he's out in the rain, and Bix, you've been able to put the raincoat over him. With the 23,
Don't even do what I say,
Ben,
you such a jerk.
you are
Making me
feeding
look like
Polly-
an asshole in front of my friends.
Polly... And Polly's basically telling you right now, Bix, that he doesn't like the rain. It smells like death, and he doesn't want
Yeah,
any
I
of
know.
it.
I don't like it either.
It doesn't smell good at all. It smells like badness. But then, as you stand up, and again, you're all just kind of just outside the entrance. If you want to tell me you're somewhere maybe a little farther out, or just congregating around this entrance, the body of the slain man slumped up against the outer wall of the Mint. Then you are the one that hears this, what sounds like a shuffling noise, like a slopping, as though someone is dragging a foot through the muck and the mire that I've described to you. And you hear it. It comes as a very low and a very breathy.
Hello? Odafi, is that you? There's something coming.
And then you hear another voice. Same kind of, but at this a little bit higher pitch. Bring
All right, everybody cluster around the cleric. I think we got zombies.
And rounding the corner of the building, just to your north, the northwest. So we're gonna say right up over yonder, you see a horrifically deformed looking creature. and it just kind of steps out. Several of them begin to step out, because imagine this rain is coming down and there's this ominous kind of mist. It's a little greenish, a little purplish, very similar to that buzz and the fly interactions that we had last session. And you see these creatures come stepping out of this foggy like mist, and they are bloated and deformed and grisly, sickly looking, and just the queen, bring us the queen, and they stumble towards you with malintent. And with that, we're gonna
if
go
that
ahead.
is if that is Odafi, we should put her out of her misery.
That's probably true. We're gonna go ahead and roll tonight's first combat. Let's get after it.
Pitter patter.
Pitter patter. Let's mess up some back end.
We're already on there.
Right. Yeah. Make sure everyone's getting in there. Okay, everyone's initiatives are in. Let me get some
Yeah, but I'm the only one who's rolled, so I think you brought an old.
Yeah, you brought.
You know what I'm
an
gonna
old
do?
one
You know what I'm gonna do? Is I'm gonna go ahead and delete some of these other ones, and then let everyone else roll in when they're ready.
There we go.
My initiative got worse.
You can update it to your other initiative if you want to. I'm
Okay,
fine with
that's
that.
fine. No big deal.
There we go. All right.
Oops. I forgot to select Polly. Of course he goes first.
Polly's a G. Polly knows what's up.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm gonna have anyone that has knowledge religion, if you could do me a favor and roll knowledge religion on these. They're zombies. We could all recognize them as being zombies.
I know
of
all
course.
about
Yes,
zombies.
you know all about the zombies. So these are specifically plague zombies, which are not great. They're not great. It's a walking corpse where there's only a few soiled rags. It's flesh rotting off its bones as it stumbles forward, arms outstretched, bloated and deformed. These creatures carry a horrible, horrible disease known as zombie rot, and when they die, they explode. And they send the disease just flying into the air. So they are horrific. Now, what's interesting about these zombies is normally plague zombies are staggered, so they have a staggered condition, as some zombies do. These ones are moving slowly, but don't appear to be quite staggered as they should be. So these have been modified in some way. I'm going to go ahead and roll their initiatives in here.
Would that explosion count as an inhaled disease?
It would.
Excellent. +2 from fastidiousness against it.
Let's get after it. And to set the initiative up, first up in the initiative is Vix.
What? The ranger goes first?
No, that was Polly. Polly goes on 22. Bix goes at 7.
I don't see Polly in here. Did you roll for Polly?
But did you have your own token
I think
selected?
you had your
I had my
token
own token
selected.
selected,
So we're
but
gonna go
I
ahead and
did
do
roll
that.
for Polly.
And Polly's gonna get reset. And what was your initiative, Vix?
7.
7? Perfect.
7.04.
I love it. All right, Polly is up first, and Polly, luckily, is feeling a little bit more brave in this moment. He's got his cool raincoat. He's popped up on sugar, so he's like, and he's looking real excited right now.
I'm gonna tell him to heal and not attack because all he can do is bite,
His
and
tail
I don't want.
is doing that because he's real hopped up on the sugar that Ben had given him.
I know, buddy, but you gotta stay behind me, man. Like, I don't want you to bite these things. They're gonna taste like crap.
And next up is Mikhail.
Nice. I'm gonna pull out my hidden sling. I need to make a sleight of hand check to compare it with the zombies to see if they knew I had a sling, because that's mechanically relevant.
Very important.
Yeah. All right, so they didn't know I had a sling. Excellent. That means they're flat-footed against this attack, which they are anyway, because I'm going first. Never mind. So I'm going to make an attack against this one, which means I get a -2 because it's the second range increment.
Get after it.
So yes. Okay. I roll a nat 1.
Ooh. Roll to confirm.
the-
Roll to confirm. Let's see if I can break out the crit miss deck. Let's go. Oh! So you
Flat-footed?
whip, and it just doesn't flip and clip like you expected it to flip and quip. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna defer to the critical miss deck. We're gonna drag that card on the screen. We're gonna go ahead and show it to all the kids at home. So this is a ranged attack. You take 1 point of con
Oh,
damage as you are
jeez,
flipping
oh,
it around, and it smacks you right in the forehead, and like you start to bleed profusely right in the forehead.
Nice.
And it's like kind of blocking a little bit of the vision, and you're losing a lot of blood. You maybe even giving yourself a concussion. It is aggressive, unfortunately, but you look cool doing it.
Nice. It's fine. No one saw.
No one's on.
Totally
Ben,
hidden right.
you're up next, my dude.
So, Ecker, these things explode? How big is the range on the explosion?
Do I have questions asked about their stat block or?
Yeah, absolutely. The explosion itself is a 5-foot radius, so anyone that's directly around them, there's a misty pink mists.
About
Yeah,
5
so-
feet.
So if I get closer, I'm not gonna get exploded necessarily.
No.
Cool.
Would Eckert know that these things are, zombie-like, and that they have, presumably, I don't know, like zombies actually do, if they have DR bludgeoning?
Yep, you would know that. That is correct.
Oh, okay.
Still too far. That's also still too far. I can't get close enough to shoot these things, so I'm gonna with magic. I mean, not that I have magic, so I'm just gonna back up and let the cleric take the first swing.
I already saw you use magic.
Are you delaying, or what are you doing?
No, I will. I mean, I already cast mage armor. That's like my one big old deal. No, I'm just gonna. Well, yeah, I guess what I'll do is if they get within 30 feet, because you can do that, right? I can
You could ready an
take a
action.
5-foot step and just ready. If they come within 5 feet, I will throw a fire snowball at them. But otherwise,
I will use magic, as it were.
that's right.
If I had it, for sure. That makes sense. I love
For
it.
sure, yeah,
Alright, so
yeah.
Ben's ready in action. This plague zombie here, you watch as again there's this slow lurching, dragging the foot behind it, the slop noise you hear as it's moving through this muck and mire. It hits the road, and as it hits the stone road, you see it straighten up a little bit. Its jaw unhinges and it just lets out this horrific and then lunges towards everyone, almost sprinting with just unbelievable speed towards you. And it gets within 30 feet of Ben, and you can go ahead and get that paired action as you see fit.
So range touch attack to hit it.
15 is a hit.
In which case it will take. Sorry, I should really have set up an attack special. I'll do that.
That's alright. We'll get around to it.
1d6 per level, so 2d6 plus 1.
Nice. Ooh. So you begin,
And that is fire
you
damage.
begin to form this flaming snowball, and as snow would, it's made a little bit powdery. You see these tiny flakes of fire flake off of it, and as you go to throw it, the snowball, the fireball was too powdery. It wasn't good packing snow,
Yeah.
so it dissipates a little bit, but it's kind of tinks into it. You see bits of this rotten flesh flake off.
It
as
has
just
to-
piles.
Has to make a fortitude save, DC 15, or be staggered.
Excellent.
For 1 round.
Unfortunately, because it's undead, it's immune to that.
Minor.
It is immune
Fair
to that,
enough.
but that's all right. So, but you do a little bit of damage to it, and that is actually its entire movement was to get to there. And this other one over here, same thing, lurching forward. It gets a little bit closer, hits the stone road, and then sprints towards you with this unbelievable speed. The same thing with this one as well, sprinting towards you. And Eckert, you are up next.
Eckert is going to go ahead and pull the long sword from his presumably still alive, or maybe the horse's corpse, from the sheath in the saddle. Drawing a long sword and using his war priest blessing of earth to make it acidic.
Ooh, I like it.
He will then take a 5-foot step forwards to try and get between the baddies and his friends.
I like it. You got your horse out of a little tiny stable that's next to the middle. So you are just moving yourself into the middle to become a target.
Yep, he is attempting to be a target.
This one here, also sprinting forward the same way, letting out this moan. And the moans of these creatures, these zombies, it is a mixture of both moans of just undead, but also these cries of, bring unto the queen, where is she? End our suffering. Just, it's all of these different statements and phrases. But this last one, lunging forward, getting to about there. This one over here doing the same.
I go at 7.
Oh,
Skipped me.
Where did you go? Oh, yes, Fitz. Why don't you go ahead and take your action right now, thank you, sir.
Okay, so as a swift action, I'm gonna activate my aspect of the tiger for myself, which gives me a +2 to my dexterity, and I'm going to give, and that lasts for a minute. I have 1 minute left for this, for today. And then for the day, I'm going to give Polly the aspect of the bear, which gives him +2 con bonus. And then I am going to cast Gravity Bow on myself.
Very nice.
Or on my bow.
Very nice. I like it. And with that, we are back at the top of the round with Senor Polly, the weasel himself.
Okay, now that there is some stuff closer by and he's buffed where I want him to be, I will send him after this one here.
Bounding through the muck, you hear that squeak, and you hear him go, "Ring!" and just lunge forward at the zombie, who doesn't try to defend itself, just takes the weasel full front. I see max damage. 19 is a hit for a solid 4 points of damage, and as Polly lunges forward, biting into the creature's upper thigh, you see him tear off hunks of this rotten, nasty-looking flesh, and Polly, being the intelligent weasel he is, just quickly spits it out and hisses at the undead zombie.
Yeah, he knows better than to try and do his grapple and blood drain
Exactly. He
on
is
this
a
nasty
smart
thing.
weasel. And Mikhail, the Bob Humanskin, are you still in fox form, or is Mikhail in Bob Humanskin?
I'm a kitsune form.
Kitsune
Yes.
form, excellent. So Kitsune form definitely didn't just biff it with their
No answer,
sling.
it's fine.
Yeah, no
Now I'm revealed because I attacked, but it's fine. I'm gonna slink behind cover around this corner over here. I'm gonna attempt a stealth check against the zombies, so I can do a sneak attack. I'm trying to hide from this one over here. Wait, this one.
I like it. I like where your mind's at. Go for it.
All right. So if it fails the perception check, it's flat-footed against this attack.
Oh, here we go. These things have amazing perception. Oh, that's a pretty good roll. 19. That was pretty good. But the zombie does
That's
not
pretty
appear to
good.
notice you slip behind in the middle.
I'm gonna throw a dart this time. I'll use the sling macro because it's the same, but it's a dart that does piercing damage.
That is
All
a
right.
solid blow.
6 sneak attack damage, and I'm
the
revealed again.
Dart flies through. It actually goes right through its midsection, and your pretty sure it struck the spinal column because the creature lurches to the side and looks to be a little off balance as that sneak attack damage hits it. So you hit something important. Although it's undead, it still needs physical form to remain mobile, as it were. Then,
Good
you're up
horses,
next.
stay there. Good horses.
Ben will take a step back and then mime as if he's pulling pieces of fire out of the lantern on his. Because I'm still trying to maintain the pretense that I don't do magic. Then he throws another snowball made of fire.
Same one.
No, I'll throw the one's super close to me.
Love it. All right. I need you to. So that's first touch. That is into a melee, which is unfortunate. And with that, the snowball actually goes wide because you were throwing it into a melee. So the snowball's going to go wide with the fireball, fire snowball, snow fireball. Anyway, we digress. And it's going to go wide, land into.
It's like an
the
ash
muck.
ball.
And as it lands in the muck, you see this sizzle, and you watch as it slowly cools into a tiny hunk of like ash, as it were. But it looked cool. It looked really cool. It was great. It was great. This zombie here, seeing just a perfect target, its jaw again unhinging, opening wide, and just wailing at Eckard. It lunges forward towards him. Now, had you prepared an action, or were you just moving out to be there? All right.
Nope,
perfect. So
no, I
it's gonna
drew
go
and
ahead,
cast a spell.
and it's going to take a quick attack roll on you, rolling a nat 1. Holy schmolies. 11 is a critical miss. So this creature, now I get to draw as the GM off the critical hit table, this table.
It takes 1 con damage.
And this one, you fall prone and are blinded for 1d3 rounds. So this thing lunging forward through the muck and mire actually biffs it, falls to the ground, and it gets a face full of muck and dirt. And it is now prone on the ground right next to Eckard for the next 3 rounds. Oh my god,
Ooh.
blind for 3 rounds and is just bogged down right there. This other plague zombie, seeing a weasel in front of it, is just going to go ahead and make a quick slam attack on the
Did you
weasel.
skip Bix again?
No, I didn't skip.
No, we haven't
Oh,
got
I'm sorry,
there
I'm
yet.
sorry, I'm sorry.
And
I
it
was-
is
I
going to
don't- I was
connect
screwed.
on Polly, unfortunately. And Polly is going to take 5 points of slam damage. As it's not really a claw, it's not really a punch, it is a skaboom, like just slamming down its fists upon Polly, dealing 5 points of damage. And as it does so, Polly's going to have to make a fortitude save, please.
Hold on a second. Just making sure. Yeah, okay.
I believe, Polly. I believe. Polly coughs ever so slightly, but it's likely just a cough because it has a hairball. He has a hairball, but he's totally fine. Probably didn't get me to zombie run. This
Yay,
one
Polly!
just in front of Eckard is going to go ahead and lunge forward towards Eckard, attempting to do the exact same thing that the other one did, rolling a 22,
That's a hit.
which is a hit. So you are struck by a horrific slam attack. The slam slams into your left shoulder. You feel yourself buckle ever so slightly under this just rotten flesh and bone as it slams down on you with all of its strength. And as it does so, a bit of this rotten flesh flakes into your face and strikes your skin, and you can feel like this sickness, illness trying to seep its way into you. Go ahead and make a fortitude save.
No.
Ouch. Ouch. All right, I'm going to go ahead and make note of that. Just for
Wonder
my own
why.
notes, and we'll take it from there. But with that, we're going to pivot over to Eckard. It's now your turn.
Eckard's going to go ahead and swift action to cast Fervor on himself to get some healing.
Love it.
Not very much healing. And he is going to attempt to stick this zombie to his north.
Like it.
Oh,
That is a
I don't know why that
thir-
acid
is
rolled
a
like that.
13 for 12 damage. Am I reading that right?
Yes, 10 from the sword, 2 from
You
acid.
bring
Not a
the
huge
sword
damage.
up, and as the creature slams down, you were very quick. You used your fervor. You felt some of your wounds ever so slightly, like maybe a little dislocated. It popped itself back into place, and you bring that sword up, carving into the undead flesh. The acid, as it cuts into it, seems to eat away at the flesh, like with a great intensity, and you watch as the creature spills back onto the ground and just collapses into a pile of inert, undead flesh. And you have felt that zombie. However, as it hits the ground, a half a second later, you see it start to kind of bubble and writhe, and then poof, it explodes into a cloud of sickness. Now for you, you don't need to make the fortitude save, since you
Of course
already
not.
have it, which is
No,
fine.
no.
This
I
zombie
wouldn't know
here,
that.
seeing an opening, is going to rush towards Eckert as well, making an attack roll 21. Oh lord.
Also a hit.
For an additional 9 damage.
Ooh.
This one it doesn't really slam down. It just throws itself into your chest, and the wind is knocked out of you, and you feel the rib crack as it like presses your breastplate into your flesh, and that is a hard, heavy hit. Bix, you're up next.
I don't want to say we should help that cleric, guys, but he doesn't look like he's doing that great. Turn undead! I hear that's a thing that clerics do!
Not that kind of cleric.
He's only half a cleric. He's a fraud.
I'm neither a paladin nor a cleric nor a fighter. What am I?
Who am I?
2d6. Strength. Okay, I am going to. Hold on 1 second. I'm fixing a. Uh,
11 unfortunately does go wide. You draw back the bow, you can feel like it's gonna hit, but as the bow fires out, it just ever so slightly misses, barely swings by, missing one of the zombies. Anything else, Vince?
no.
Alright. This zombie here, realizing it was just stabbed by something that's probably around the corner, the horse gets spooked and runs this direction, away from the foxman.
Oh,
and this
cover.
creature lunges forward, trying to attack you with a 15.
Misses.
It slams into the ground just beside you, and as it slams into the ground with both of its fists, it brings it back and goes to punch, but it connects with the side of the mint, and its arm kind of bends in an odd way, and you can hear the cracking of bone as it does so. And now that right arm is just limply hanging there, but it's limply hanging to where it can just try to like fish slap you with it, which is likely what it's going to try to do next round. This one here, seeing that there's an opening to the back line, appears to lunge forward at Vix for a 19 on the gnome ranger, which I believe is a hit.
Hunter.
For the hunter, excuse me, which is a hit as it runs up and just again, very similar to how it did to Eckert, slams into your side and just throwing all of its weight at you. You're going to take 6 points of damage, most of it being bruising and, you know, breaking of maybe a bone here or there. I need you to make a fort save, please, Bix. You are good. You're back to the top of the round with Holly the Weasel, but before we take Holly's turn, I'd like everyone to make perception checks again.
I see all. Know
Eckert.
all.
Eckert, you hear what sounds like running feet, but they don't sound like the shambling, shuffling of the zombies. It sounds like someone running very hard, very, very quickly, and very hard through the muck in your direction. behind the mint, skirting kind of the edge of the outer wall of the city. It looks like it's coming up from behind, likely in the direction of Mikael slipping back. And Mikael, you got a 14. Because of where you are, you would hear that as well. Everyone else does not. Oh, Bix hears it as well. Bix would hear it.
Yep.
But you hear somebody coming. And Mikael, do you look over your shoulder to see who it might be?
Sure.
All right, right in the
the
corner,
zombie
you
just-
see a girl. She looks a little familiar. Maybe somebody that disappeared for a while. She's panting. She's breathing very heavily, and she's running down this alleyway very, very quickly. And appears to have something tucked under her jacket, something large, tucked, maybe like a book or something, tucked under there. And she's running down this alleyway, and you can hear groans and cries from behind her as well. But enough about that. Polly, take Polly's turn.
Polly's gonna attack the one he's been.
3 damage
Yeah.
to that creature, and once again, Polly spits out the nastiness that is that guy. And next up is Mikael.
Mikhail turns to the zombie and goes like, I'm sure we can talk about this, like, I have nothing. And then they're going to pull out a hidden dagger and make a sleight of hand check
Like
to
it.
see if the zombie could see it. Let me just, yeah. Okay, the zombie could not see that, I can tell you that.
Perfect.
And now I'm going to throw the dagger and
I
get
love it.
sneak attack.
Looks confused.
Oh, max damage.
Oh, buddy, that might be enough. Actually, that might actually be enough. So let's see here, and that is with that. We gotta carry the 1. We gotta do some Pythagorean theorem. Yeah, that zombie is down. The dagger strikes the zombie in its neck and carries through, so it slices in, and then the hilt comes up and strikes it right in the forehead, and the thing collapses back, and just the way I described it to Eckerd's zombie, starts to bubble, boil, bloat, and explodes into a cloud of decay and rot. But luckily, no one was close enough for that to affect them, so that zombie is out. Ven, you're up next.
Then he'll take a 5-foot step just because he's really worried about these exploding zombies. And then, like, I'm again miming that he's taking it out of the lantern. He gathers up another ash ball, and he's like, "Hear me? You'll hold together this time, right? Hear me, baby, hold together." And then he whips it at the zombie that is fighting the weasel.
I love it.
Oh, good lord!
Well, roll to
Damage is
confirm.
good.
Oh! All right.
Right off.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you want to spend a hero point to take that roll?
I don't have a hero point.
You just look
You did, you leveled up.
Oh, in which case, yes, I absolutely want to spend a hero
That
point.
is such a good roll. So
Nice.
you go to craft it, and as you go to throw it, you can see it start to like fall apart. So you bring it back, maybe give a little nudge, like you can do it, and then it grows larger and gets hotter, and you like actually play hot potato with it, and then you chuck it, and it does a long Hail Mary arc, and it blasts the zombie right in the face, and it crumples to the ground. Now remind me, which one were you attacking? The one next to
The one
Vince?
that's fighting Polly now.
Polly? Perfect. That one turns to ash and doesn't even explode because it's completely turned into flame and ash, and it's gone, which is fantastic.
Yeah, got one.
The one next to Ven, Eckerd, is still struggling to get off the ground and is blind, is just clawing like wildly. From down the passageway, Odafi comes running, gets right up next to Mikkel and says, "Zombies! City! Monsters! Undertale! Where's everybody? Where's Ven?
It is not
Where's-
safe here. You must
Not
run
safe.
away
Anywhere!
randomly.
City! Undead! Where's City? And she is just breathing heavily and just like rests her hand on Ven, and rests her hand on Mikkel. And Mikkel, give a perception check. I want to see if we can see what she's holding under her jacket here. Yeah, it looks like a spell book.
Ah,
Yeah, it looks like a
Of course.
really nice looking spell book. But next up is Eckert. Eckert, buddy, how you feeling?
Bad. Feeling bad.
Not great.
Yeah. Once again, gonna fervor his second and third of the day, and that's much better. Roll an average now.
That is literally like a 180, what you had last roll. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's
No,
really
roll an
good.
average.
That's really good.
1 and a 6. I'm doing fine.
That's good. That's good.
And he is going to curse, seeing that a zombie split past him, and 5-foot step over here and attempt to stick it in the back.
Love it.
Ooh, fancy.
I assume Bix does not provide flanking because he has a bow
Not
in his
from
hands,
there.
right?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay. Nope. I input my thing wrong. Need to redo it. Oh, that's
Oh,
not good.
come on. Roll to confirm.
Yes.
That is a confirm, unfortunately. Man, you guys' rolls tonight have been rough. So melee, it is your weapon takes 1d6 points of damage, ignoring hardness. So I'm going to go ahead and roll that. So it strikes into the back of the zombie, and you do cut into it. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the acid damage on this attack, because I think that's kind of narratively cool. But it strikes the bone at an odd angle, and you hear the sword kind of crack a bit as it hits through the flesh and hits bone, taking 2 points of damage on the weapon. Next up is this plague zombie who sees a weasel who's going to lunge forward towards Polly. Rolling a 12, Polly deftly dodges out of the way of that zombie's attack. We are back to Bix. You have a friend next to you.
Okay, I'm going to shoot him with my longbow
In the face.
Yep.
I love it.
Twice.
Do it. Give it up.
'Cause I'm gonna use my rapid shot, and I still have gravity bow going. So
Nice. Now, do you want a 5-foot step back so you don't provoke?
I have precise shot.
Precise shot allows you to shoot into melee without taking a minus, but you tree to get
yes.
to where you can do it, where you can shoot without provoking. That's a little bit farther down the path. So I would recommend
that's fine.
stepping back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5-foot step back, and then
Go for it.
twang twang.
Beautiful, beautiful. Both arrows strike into the creature. The first one takes it right in where its heart would be, looks down, moaning, "Bring us the queen!" And then the second one takes it right in the heart again, and you can see it start to kind of writhe, and instead of falling back as the others have, it actually explodes right where it is, showering Eckert with additional pus and nastiness and undead flesh. And Eckert, if you weren't already suffering from zombie rot, you're probably suffering from zombie rot now. You're certain of it. Like at this point,
Yeah.
you
Sorry,
basically you're like
Statistically likely.
He expected it.
Yeah, it's happening. Next up and back to top of the round is Senor Polly the Weasel.
Polly the Weasel. He is going to take bite at the zombie.
11. Swing and a miss, unfortunately. Oh, no, wait. That zombie charged. That is a swing and a hit. That is a swing and a hit on that zombie for 4 solid points of damage. Very similar to its first attack on the zombie. It bites into its thigh, ripping off some of the flesh, throwing it to the side, spitting it out and hissing the whole time as he does so. Mikael, you're standing next to Odaphi. She is out of breath. She is cradling the spellbook in her arms. She's looking around frantically. You hear additional moans and cries from behind you. What would you like to do?
First of all, I would like to ask if Polly would perhaps like to step away from the zombie in case it somehow dies randomly and explodes. Just putting it out there, maybe. Polly, no? Okay, I'm gonna turn to Odaphi in hushed tones and be like,
Oh, I can call to him and tell him to move.
yeah,
I guess.
you do
Would
that
you
if
be
you want.
communicating that in combat? Or would Polly stick where he is? That's the question.
I'm
I
not
have.
saying it, but I'm not
Oh,
saying
if
it.
you're not gonna actually say anything, then yeah.
I'm just guessing this is hunter tactics in general, but go, you do you. I'm gonna turn to Odaphi and be like, if you are some sort of wizard or other, then maybe help. Then I'm gonna try to
She
stealthily
looks
peek out
at
of
she
the
looks
corner.
at Mikael and says, "Out of spells, out of magic, too many."
Then hush. I'm gonna stealth out of the corner and try to shoot the zombie that's attacking Polly.
Love it. Do it up.
Here's my stealth. It's
15
pretty
is.
bad.
Let's see if it works. Let's see. Plague zombie rolled a
Alright.
2.
Here's a dart. It says sling. Ignore that.
I believe.
I get a -4 because no precise shot. So 10.
That is a hit for 5 solid points of damage into that zombie. It does not fall over, but it takes it in the shoulder, and you see its arm. It's like moving its arm like this. It slumps as though it's severed all of the tendons in its left arm, and it's no longer able to use them. Then you're up next.
I just want to take a moment and think, like, can you imagine if you ran to somebody who'd be like, help me, oh, I'm in real trouble. And they were like, yeah, help me fight this. And you were like, nah, I can't. And he was like, fine, then shut up. And just like turn your back on you.
I mean,
Shut your
it
pie
seems-
hole then.
super reasonable to me.
Ben takes the 5-foot step because he's still worried about people exploding, so he doesn't want to be too close to anybody. And he's gonna fire a ray of frost at this zombie here. Or sorry, not a ray of frost, an elemental ray. Because I have a bunch of those, and they do more damage.
Do it up, do it up. Solid blow for 4 as the elemental ray strikes through the zombie. It actually carves a hole, cutting a hole. You see this glowing kind of fire and elemental crackle of energy, and then it slumps down to its knees. Doesn't fall over, but just hangs its head. Again, that bloating sensation explodes, and Polly needs to make a fortitude save.
Oh shit! Sorry, Bix.
It's all right. Polly. Fort, you said?
Correct. Polly's good. Actually, DC 11, so Polly's totally fine. Yeah, he's good. Wasn't a great roll, but he's feeling okay. This last plague zombie still floundering around in the mud and the mire, and in the interest of, I don't think we need to go around the whole time because you can just stab it to death in the ground. You all can gang up on this thing and defeat it. And as the last zombie falls, we pivot back over to just the creepy, ominous music as the rain starts to intensify ever so slightly. Odafie rounds the corner. She looks at Ven. She looks back at Mikael. She looks at everyone and says, "More of them coming. Zombies everywhere. Out of spells. Can't cast. Gotta go. Place to hide. Somewhere safe."
I would like. Is it possible to use acrobatics to jump on the horse and then use that to jump on the roof to get a good vantage point?
Absolutely.
Cool. You want me to roll it?
Act for it. Make a narrative declaration. I love it. Make a narrative declaration.
It's 15.
I think that's fine. It's a little clumsy. You don't look quite Kitsune-like, but you're doing all right. It's pretty good.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go up
Just
on
like
the
that
strip and
crit
look
one
around.
with the sling that never happened. You totally
Yeah.
just expertly do this. Absolutely.
For sure. I am expert fighter. Yeah. I just look around.
Ben gestures to Odafie to come closer, and when she gets closer, we like get into the mint. Tell them you're my sister, and that we found you, and that we are still off to fight the hag. And stay safe.
So, 2 things that you're going to see, Mikael, as you get up on the roof. You see that too, and I'm actually going to move y'all over to the Varnhold map just so that we can get a little bit of perspective here. So, Odafie came from down this road that was to the south, near to the wall, and Mikael, as you are up on this roof looking southwest, you see that there are dozens of zombies, making their way in your direction, but simultaneously as you pivot and look northwest towards where the Clumsy Bear is and where Dawkin and the other Musketeers had been when they first interacted with you, you actually see the flashes of what look like muzzle flashes, and ever so slightly, now that you're on the roof, you can hear gunfire coming from the Clumsy Bear. So you've got this zombie horde behind you, or to the south, and then to that north, you can see what looks like maybe Musketeers making a stand against this current onslaught. You can do with that information as you see fit.
Bix speaks Sylvan, right?
Actually, yeah, I think he does.
Oh wait, actually, I don't want to. If I'm trying to be sneaky from a hag, I don't want to speak Sylvan to my allies. Is what I realize now. We should have checked if we had any other common languages. Anyway, I'll just say in common. I'd be like, there are more zombies from that place that strange wizard lady mentioned, and the Musketeers are also fighting zombies. It seems like. What do?
We'll head for the Musketeers. Give me one moment. And Ecker's going to pound on the front door, open it, presuming it's still unlocked, and they only left like 18 seconds ago.
It is still unlocked. Do you open it? Are you opening it right now?
Yeah, he's going to open it, poke his head in.
Open it. You feel some resistance, and then you hear Sarah go, "Ow! Oh! Ow! 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 That was my forehead. Why does it smell so terrible outside?"
Why are you leaning against the door and not locking it?
I was trying to lock it. It's heavy and really hard. And why are you guys back so soon? You've only been gone for like 18 seconds.
Anyways, he call into Esmeralda and the Queen.
Yes?
Zombies in the streets. Recall the clergy. Defend the mint.
Oh, of course. And you hear her like get up and move over, and then about 2 seconds later you hear this dong, 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 as there's apparently a bell in the mint to alert the clergy that shit's going down. And that's where we're at. So there you go.
Had they not realized?
Church bells make sense.
Yeah, why not, right?
That's awesome.
In fact, I thought I had a bell beat, but I don't have it. All right, we're just gonna have to use your imaginations. Imagination, immersion ruined. I digress. We move on. So you've leaned inside. Unless you have anything else to say, Sarah, you're gonna close the door. So you hear the large, heavy bolts, those locks clink, clink, shut, and you know that the mint is now secured. Odafi still standing outside along with everyone else. I'll go ahead and add her in. I'll delete the queens and she's inside. Still out of breath, still looking quite frantic. Looks to Ven. Did he just close the door? I thought we were going to head inside. There's a horde of zombies behind me, and there's more coming, and I think there's something else happening right now, and why are we not fleeing?
If you wish to go inside, you're welcome to take shelter. We have a task.
She looks to Ven.
It's like, yeah, I kind of signed up with these guys, to just like take care of their horses and stuff. He says, like heavily leaning in, like to take care of their horses and stuff. Or the mint should be safe for you. Just tell them you're my sister. I mentioned you earlier. They know that I'm looking for you.
She looks around, and you see her hesitate for a moment.
Eckerd
Go ahead.
pats Vin on the shoulder, gives him a shit-eating grin. Well, we've filled our end of the bargain. We found your sister.
She's gonna go to the door and begin pounding on it, asking to be let in. And you hear Sarah from the other side say, "What's the password? I don't know what the password is, but Eckerd is standing outside. Isn't he a cleric of yours? I'm not gonna let you in unless you know the password. How do I know you're not a zombie?" She's like, "I'm
so it is
speaking."
judged.
And then she says,
Yeah.
"There it is." And then clink, clink, chick, 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 chick. Odafi slips in. The door slams shut. Clink, clink. And you hear Sarah, just ever so muted on the other side, say, "I mean, all you had to do was say the password. I don't know why you just say the password. You had to make Eckerd do it." You hear Odafi say, "Shut up." And that's where we'll leave that. So you all are in the streets. The rain is coming down. That sound of dozens of zombies moving down the streets towards you is starting to grow louder. Those cries of, "Bring us the queen. Where is she?" That noise is growing louder and louder. What do you all want to do?
If you all don't mind, I would prefer to go on ahead and make sure the road is clear so we are not ambushed again like we just were.
Yeah, Eckerd unties his horse and gives it a smack on the ass, trusting that a 50-speed horse can outrun 20-speed zombies.
You're more than likely right.
Ben gives Eckerd a significant look at the fact that the Kitsune now wants to go off ahead on his own.
He'll lower his voice after he's gone and said, "Where's he gonna go? It's a city full of zombies. I don't think he can do much but scout."
I mean, I guess. I'm just saying it's a little suspicious.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
I mean, he's a kitsune. They're a kitsune. Like, what are you gonna do?
I have very
They do
good hearing,
suspicious.
and I can see you.
Luna,
No, we waited for
muttering.
you to leave. Shut up.
No one confirmed that I should go, so I'm just sitting there. But yes, if they do do confirm that I should go, I'm gonna turn into a tiny fox and I'm gonna stealth ahead and make sure the road is clear of zombies,
Beautiful.
or that if there are zombies, we know of them before they know of us.
Stealthing ahead, you eventually come to the town square. I need you to make a perception check.
Yep. Let me just press the button. I'm a tiny fox.
Beautiful. Beautiful. You hear... You are standing on the edge of the town center, that drizzled rain. It's hard to see more than 60 feet in front of you as the rain is coming down and there's that strange greenish mist. You can hear the sounds and the cries of undead and zombies moving about here and there. But you hear something. It sounds like the whimper of a child. And as you smell the air, although it is muddled with the smell of decay and rot and blood, you smell someone familiar. And I think you can guess who you smell.
Fuck. Where is it coming from?
Perry, it's coming from directly across. You think maybe right in the center of the town square.
Presumably there's no cover to getting there stealthily.
Absolutely not.
Do I see any enemies around?
No one in direct immediate range. But you hear the voice. You hear the voice of Perry. Someone, please. Someone help me. I'm cold. It hurts. Please.
Can I make a sense motive to check if that really is Perry?
You absolutely can make a sense motive to check if that's really Perry. It's really Perry.
Fuck. Okay, well, I do like Perry. I am not suicidal, however. I am... Yeah, I'm going to... Ignoring stealth, I'm going to run as fast as I can on my tiny fox legs, which is actually faster than my normal speed. And I'm gonna run back to the others.
Cool. You run back to the others.
And I turn back to Kitsune form. And I go, there is a small child needs help down square. Let us go quick, yes?
Is that on the way?
Yes. That is how I found it.
Excellent. Let's go. Eckerd, lawful neutral, not lawful good.
Yep.
And as all of you make your way back towards the town center, not only are you hearing Perry's cries for help, but you're also hearing an additional voice, and then another. And eventually you hear 4 distinct voices crying out for help. Each seems to be very close to one another. And as these cries begin to rise up and up, you hear a 5th voice. Yes, cry out for those that care for you. Cry out for help. Bring them to me.
Are they within like a couple of minutes or a minute? Like, I assume that they're pretty close. We can hear them.
You are standing at the edge. The center of the town is about 150 feet, like a football field away. You cannot see because of this mist and fog. You've only got about 60-foot vision in front of you, but you know, based off of Mikhail, you know the city like the back of your hand, Bix as well. You know that there is a fountain in the center of the city with a statue of the original founder of Varnhold, and just kind of paid his homage to him. He was an ally of Solaria. They put it up when he was slain, and this is where this fountain appears to be where these cries for help are coming from.
Ben stops for a minute, rolls his shoulders, sort of cracks his neck, and goes, "That bitch owes me gold," and then starts to march towards the fountain with purpose.
Holy shit.
Eckerd casts magic weapon on his pick as they begin to approach.
I hide.
As you begin to approach Bix, what are you doing?
He looks down. I guess we're doing this, Polly, right? Pulls a couple arrows out in his bow and just marches tinily behind the other two.
You get 30 feet towards the direction of the center of town, the town square, when you hear a voice. There's a woman's voice, and she says, "Are you alive?"
Yeah, I'm alive.
I am.
You are not undead. You are breathing, living individuals.
Ben is like,
Stepping forward out of the mist, just out of sight of you, you see a woman clad in half-plate. She is wearing reds, the symbolic, the colors of Varnhold. She has a long sword on her side, and for those native to the city, you would recognize this as Tessa Varn. She is the daughter of the late then Varn, the Baron Varn, or I guess, the ruler Varn. But when he died, instead of taking over, she decided to become the captain of the town guard. She looks at you all with a moment of suspicion, and then it fades away. Good. Others are alive. Do not go towards the center of town. It is a trap.
"Oh, we know. That bitch owes me gold."
You do not understand. You walk to the center of the town, you will not return.
"Oh, I'll return all right, and I'll return with a pouch full of goddamn owed gold."
I think we better listen to
I
this woman.
respect the hustle. However, maybe I agree with Man in Armor. We should perhaps listen to this wise-looking woman.
I have a few of the other town's guard. We're in a building just a few paces off. We are trying to put together some sort of plan to help those that are trapped by this creature, whatever it is. If you are good intent...
Speaking of,
Sounds like you need a
motive this
distraction.
woman.
Absolutely, you can sense more to this woman.
This totally seems like a thing a hag would do, right? It's not just me. Okay, cool.
Maybe.
Oh no.
Oh! Oh! And you have interacted with Tessa Varn before. This is not Tessa Varn.
I am going to reiterate what I said, and I said, yes, we should all pay attention to this wise-looking woman. She is definitely very, very important to the city and knows what is up. And I will try to convey a secret message with bluff to all my allies that we should fucking kill this woman.
Is that sense motive?
Ben does not pick up what you are laying down.
Maybe.
It depends on my bluff. Let me check.
That's a good check to pass in secret message.
All right, so convey secret message. I need to do a DC 20 bluff, and the enemy gets to do a sense motive to see if they get it too. And if I succeed, then my allies automatically understand. Is how it works.
So you say that, and this ardent, follow me. I have other town's guard that I can... Oh, and you think you're so tricksy, you little foxy piece of shit.
Cover your eyes! And Ben will slam his staff down, and the fire inside the lantern will explode with pyrotechnics, causing a blinding flash that'll be blind her for 1d4 rounds. Although she gets a will save, DC 15.
And as the blinding flash illuminates the area around you. You all close your eyes. As the flash goes off, she is taking it full bore. She recoils back, and in her place, as the light fades from this flash, you see this horrifically mutated, nasty, old-looking crone woman. And she claws at her eyes for a moment. You see one is large and red and bulbous, the other sunken back as though it's like rotting away. She has a huge hunch on her back, and as she lurches forward, she says, "You will regret that." And that, my friends, is where we'll end today's session.
Oh no.
Great job, everybody. That was super fun.
These cliffhangers are
Super
getting
fun.
worse.
Oh no.
Oh, I know. They're my favorite. Now, to all of the viewers, I want to say thank you so much for everybody for stopping in. The players, you did an absolutely fantastic job. I'm going to award everyone an additional hero point for some great role-playing, wonderful combats, and I feel bad because you rolled some nat ones too many times for comfort, which was insanity. I do want to give a shout out to Scruff for the follow. I very much appreciate it. It's a brand new follow.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Thank you so much, John. Apparently somebody that we know. It's awesome. Thank you for listening in. And you can catch these wonderful folks again and the continuation of the Trials of Solaria Broken Oaths every Wednesday. However, next Wednesday we will be taking off as one of our players is going on a bit of a boys trip. We're going to have some fun. He's going to be playing some Pathfinder in person, of all things.
Oh my god.
Holy schmolies, with actual dice.
Who does that?
Absolutely madness. But
I
you will
haven't
see
done that
them
in
back
years.
here again in 2 weeks. The 20th of April for session 4 of Broken Oath. So I'm super excited for that, and we'll see how this fight with the hag goes. But with that being said, to everyone at home, thank you again for watching. Be safe, be well, and happy gaming. We'll talk to you guys later.